Cup of tea like Stevie.
Come on then.
Yeah.
Because I said cup, man.
Getting a new mug, didn't I?
We've got a cupboard full of these ones.
Ah, yeah.
You gonna fill that up, like?
Sorry, mate. Drank it on the way on. Right.
Welcome back to NE FILTA.
I'm Steve.
I'm Bootsy.
Aye, yeah. Aye, there's a bloke in Canada, he's getting arrested, right? He's been locked up because he wouldn't call his fucking daughter his son. What do you reckon? Hadn't you seen the war in Ukraine and all? I reckon there's full of Nazis in that Ukraine, mate. It's coming up. Hey, this is your NE FILTA podcast, guys.
Hello, my name is Christopher Chance.
Aye, what do you reckon of him, like? What did you reckon of him, like?
No, cut that.
Definitely leave it in.
Leave it.
Why?
Alright, should we get started
Definitely
then, guys? Well, unless you've been living under a rock or a hard place,
yeah, I feel like I'm living under a rock and a hard place today. But me and him's got the phones turned off, you know, with Deep to the World. Feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. Eddie! Because we're trying to avoid the England score.
so at the time of recording this, it's 10:15 Saturday morning. The England game, England and America, was 6 AM, yeah? So we've had our phones on airplane mode now, been to the gym and everything, just trying to avoid the score, and we've been successful so far. So the plan is to watch it this afternoon with a few PVs.
Aye, right.
But
what have you?
Can't see Sam Fender, Sam Fender.
Aye, the Dutch version.
Aye.
That's going to be good, isn't it?
But World Cup has been some interesting games. Watched the Iran and Wales game last night, didn't we?
Get in. It was class, wasn't it?
Aye.
All the Wales fans and all the Wales players and all that saying they'd love to put England out. It's looking like we might get the chance. As long as we get a point. If we beat America, we'll have it, you know. But aye, if we can put them out, I think. Because it'll be down to Iran. It'll be down to the Iran and America game to see who gets through if we beat Wales. Aye. Or even get a point off them.
But them 2 goals in the 99th and 100th minute.
It's mad, isn't it?
Funny, like. That first goal was a screamer, and it'll just be a rocket from outside the box, wasn't it?
There'll be some sheep getting fettled beneath, won't there? Off the well.
That's it, like. And we beat Iran 6-2, didn't we?
Aye, and then
if Wales are struggling against Iran.
I know, aye. I didn't really like the Welsh team, eh? Like, they put us out the last World Cup and they loved it, you know. They loved it.
The Welsh particularly hate the English and all, haven't they?
I don't know why. Because obviously you get it with the Irish and the Scottish and all that. There's all that bother and all that, but what? Was there ever any bother with Wales? I don't know. Maybe I need to read a book, eh?
Aye.
Maybe I need to read a book, guys.
It's coming home.
Aye.
See the crack with the whole Qatar fan village as well, man.
Aye.
There's a little clip, I'll put it in. But it's
put
just
it in,
like,
yeah?
Aye, yeah.
Well, I'm an eternal optimist, but the pessimist in me is kind of winning at the moment. As we've driven in, there are loads of cranes, loads of people at work, and some of the structures, we've got this brown one in front of us now, and it's clearly not finished. You can see the diggers. It's nice. It's a little bit uneven underfoot.
But it's comfortable. You have a fan?
No air condition?
No.
No, just the fan.
Padlocks for the door?
So this is security?
Yes.
But there's just like thousands and thousands of rows of plastic tents with a little fan in the corner.
Nah, it looks like some mad camp, doesn't it? Like a concentration camp.
I know. There's a lot of controversy going on about the host nation. But Christ, like.
I know they spent all that time building the stadiums. They must have forgotten about the hotel. They must have forgotten about the hotels.
And usually they build accommodation and stuff, don't they?
Wait, have you not seen the tents?
Like,
yeah, it must be them tents will be melting in that heat.
I know. I wouldn't dream of going there. Like that was on this clip I seen. There's like a bloke from South America or something, and he spent like $3.5 grand on his tickets and all that, and he's got there and he just turned around and went home.
I seen that. Aye, poor bloke. Eh?
He was
I bet he didn't know.
He was raging on the video.
Oh, you know. It's meant to be freezing inside the hotel, inside the stadium, so you know. They reckon they've got
Is
aircon blasting up your back. It's meant to be brass monkey.
Honestly. We obviously that was the whole Budweiser thing, wasn't it? Where what happened? So they put an alcohol ban on.
Aye.
And then Budweiser are kicking off because they had the beer deal or whatever for the World Cup. So they're claiming they want better rates at the next World Cup or something like that. And they've got all the they put a photo on of all the crates of Budweiser in that warehouse, and it says the winning team gets all the beer.
The winning team or the winning country? I think.
Winning country, aye.
Aye, but you know what? I think they win either way.
Aye.
Because getting the rights to the beer and all that at the World Cup, it's not so much. I get they're gonna sell a shitload of beer, but it's more about advertising, is it not?
Aye.
So everyone's talking about it. Everyone's on about Budweiser, and they're still selling it all over the place. It's not like it's just they're not allowed to sell it in the stadiums. I think Budweiser wins with this one.
Yeah. See what
you know another thing. Everyone going on about you're not allowed to drink beer and that's the worst World Cup ever. It's a bit sad when we live in a day and age where people can't have fun with a bit of beer, isn't it? Though?
I know.
And obviously it's a good time and all that, but yeah. Are you that desperate that you need a beer inside the stadium for 90 minutes?
I know.
Fuck me, man, get a grip.
On that, do you see what Gary Lineker was saying? Gary Lineker brutally destroys decision to host World Cup in Qatar. Yeah. And this is his quotes, guys. The smallest nation to have hosted football's greatest competition has faced some big questions, from accusations of corruption in the bidding process to the treatment of migrant workers who built the stadiums where many lost their lives. Homosexuality is illegal here, women's rights and freedom of expression are in the spotlight. Also the decision 6 years ago to switch the World Cup from summer to winter. Against the backdrop, there's a tournament to be played, one that will be watched and enjoyed around the world. Stick to football, say FIFA, we will, for a couple of minutes at least.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Stick to football, it's a football competition.
Yeah.
Why doesn't anyone complain when the boxing guns out of Saudi Arabia and all the time? Do you know what I mean? There's so many sporting events in the Middle East and in the Middle East.
In the Middle East.
In the Middle East, and it's a football competition at the end of the day. Like if you didn't like it, didn't watch.
I think if it is that much of a problem, you then just didn't go to that World Cup, wait for the next one or whatever.
Have a little silent protest, didn't go.
I personally wouldn't have went to that World Cup just because of them digs. Aren't they? Imagine staying there for a couple of weeks, man.
Do you know about being in Australia and all that? That's probably one of the closest ones you'd get to. If you want to get into the next one, America, Mexico and Canada, and why they're having it in 3 separate countries, by the way. But if you want to get into that one, that's a good 30-hour flight from you. The Middle East is what, 12 hours?
Something like that.
Might be a shout again to one. It'll be a good one when they come to Australia. I was wondering when they actually would get one in Australia, because it'll be mint away,
It would be, but also at the same time, like you were saying last night, they probably wouldn't have it because of the time differences.
With Italian,
they'll probably have it in countries where there's more people that can watch it, because in Australia, it's unsociable hours for most people, isn't it?
But then would they not just programme the games, run them shit hours? They could have one dead early in the morning.
Aye, maybe.
But then it's just the Aussie bloke that's getting fucked out every time, isn't it? We never get to watch a good game of football. That's why we've went without our phones today. But it's been quite nice, I think. Instead of just aimlessly scrolling through Instagram on the morning. What did you do instead? I flicked one off the wrist. No, I didn't. Well,
I just actually done now. I just got up and sat in the chair and just waited for you to get up for the gym.
Aye. But it's nice, isn't it? Not bothering with people that didn't care about on Instagram.
I thought we'd put the telly on. I thought, oh no, there might be news on about the football. So I was literally sat in silence.
You know what? At the gym and all, you're not allowed to look at the tellies because obviously they want to see the score and all that. I was walking about, my eyes were like this, mate. You try not to look at anything. I felt like a right weirdo, you know. That's sometimes when you just, I was looking round and all that like that.
Like if the telly was there and I wanted to turn that way, I was turning the other way like that.
I know. I bet we look like a pair of idiots in the thing. Anyway, what do you reckon? Kick it off with what?
I don't know. Got a few pellet points. I don't know. I guess while we're on the World Cup thing, we watched this mad little documentary about the 1994 World Cup and the Colombian team.
I watched that years ago, you know.
I don't even knew about that.
It's mad.
But Andres Escobar, was he the nephew of Pablo Escobar?
No, You had nothing to do with
Do you
him?
not know Escobar?
No.
Just had the same name?
Just had the same
I
name,
assumed
aye.
he was related to him.
No.
Shows how much attention I was paying, guys.
Just had the same name, aye.
But the Colombian team were like after Pablo Escobar died, they were saying it was like chaos, wasn't it? Because he like had the whole underworld like in order, and he was like the boss. And then once he died, everyone became their own boss, and there was loads of gangs and that.
Aye.
And it was just pure mayhem. And when he was alive, he didn't allow kidnapping and stuff like that, and stuff bad things to kids and that apparently.
Is it?
And then as soon as he passed away, like there was loads of people getting kidnapped, and there was this player. It was in America, wasn't it? America '94
The World Cup, aye.
And this player had his son kidnapped, and his brother was killed, and he was expected to play the next day. And he was obviously he was in a bad way and that, and we've got to play.
What are you on about here? Is that Escobar?
No, it was just that was another player in the
aye.
team.
I was
But
gonna say.
then that Andres Escobar missed a goal, didn't he? And
He scored an own goal.
He scored an own goal.
Aye.
And I basically went back to Colombia and got topped.
Now what it is, when I watched that, like I was only a Ben when I watched that for the first time, right? And I remember thinking, wow, that's mad that, because the way I interpreted it in my head, because I was only I would only been probably 8 or something like that. I remember it always that it was in an important game in the World Cup, and he scored the own goal, and as soon as he did it, they shot him, the sniper,
Nah,
and he was dead on the pitch.
imagine.
Aye, but then obviously I watched it again. Obviously, I loved that, mate, because the whole Colombia thing, that Valderrama with the massive hair and Tino Asprilla and all that, pure heroes of mine when I was little growing up. I loved that documentary and I loved that story, like, but
It's awful, though, isn't it, what
it's
goes
sad,
on?
aye.
Nowadays, you've got to count yourself lucky now to be living in a country like England or UK and Australia and that, where that sort of stuff isn't just like the norm.
I know, it
crackers,
honestly,
isn't it?
living in places like that, you must feel like you're living in between a rock and a hard place. You have, mate.
I know, aye. But anyway, that was just a little, thought it been a little interesting story
Escobar,
for
aye,
you
look it
guys.
up, that's a good one, that. The 2 Escobars it's called. Oh, the one I watched was.
And I guess while we're still on the sporting topics, we'll move on to the main topic.
It's coming up.
You know that Hasim Rahman Jr., who was meant to be fighting Jake Paul, but he didn't make the weight. He fought last weekend against Greg Hardy, former UFC fighter, ain't he?
Greg Hardy, aye.
And
He's actually a former NFL player as well
Aye.
before the UFC.
we just thought, it's probably going to be like not a great fight, but we'll watch it. It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Aye, it was mint fight.
But that Greg Hardy was how many stone heavier?
100.
100 stone.
100 pounds.
It's 100 pound heavier.
But what was it in stones? It was a lot though, wasn't it? It was not like 6 stone.
What's 100 pound in stone, guys? I'm not putting
I
my
think
internet on.
6 stone.
But 6 stone heavier, and he was massive. Like he was much bigger,
This
wasn't he?
bloke's my age, man. 6 stone.
But Hasim Rahman was like doing well as well. It was like just a 4-round pure scrap.
But
wasn't
who
it?
sanctioned that fight?
I know.
How's that fair, like? How?
I don't know. It was mental, but it was a really good fight. Like 4-rounder it was.
Greg Hardy actually looked like a decent boxer, didn't he though?
I had a good job on him in that. Looked pretty good. But I fair play to Rahman Jr. because I thought it was going to be a bit of a joke fight.
Aye.
And we actually thought you got knocked out, didn't we? Because we just saw the clip where he gets put down.
Aye.
But that was a hellish fight. Like, if you've not seen that, search it on YouTube.
Aye, it's
Rahman
good,
Jr. versus Greg Hardy, 4 rounds of pure carnage, like wicked.
I know, I always thought Greg Hardy was a bit of a tit, you know, because I just know him from the UFC, and then he was a bit of a kind of like one of them UFC fighters that everyone's just saying, oh, he shouldn't be there and all that, he's an arsehole. A bit of a show off in that, because he'd come from the NFL, trying to take on another sport. He actually did half decent in the UFC, and then Ty Bassett knocked him out. That was good. And then he disappeared. I think they dropped him, you know. And then he came back wanting boxing fights.
Yeah. Now, as I think I see Rahman Jr. I'll be wanting to watch him now.
Aye, I know, aye.
I'm going to keep my eye on him now, like.
Aye, alright. He didn't look bad
It
at all.
wasn't
did he?
really on my radar at all until he was supposed to be fighting Jake Paul, and then.
But then to fight a big bloke like that.
Watch some of his older fights where, obviously, to be fair, in the pros, you start at the bottom, didn't you? So he was fighting people who didn't look all that good. But that's maybe it's not on him. That's just because that's who you fight at the start of your career, innit? But so was it out of an hour. But then you actually impressed us on this fight. Like, you actually looked like you had good boxing. He could take a dig. He was landing some bombs. He dropped that Greg Hardy a couple of times,
I know,
didn't he?
aye.
Considering he's 6 stone heavier than him and all.
Aye. Aye.
Fair play, lads.
Aye, Dillian White's fighting this weekend.
Dillian White, aye. See that?
Apparently they got split up. Just again.
I saw that clip where he was Griffinham's saying he was wearing a Slazenger tracksuit.
I didn't see it.
Aye.
That'll be a good fight.
Face-off
And,
thing.
on the undercard as well, there's 2 lads from Berkeley on. Pat McCormick,
Aye.
who got silver at the Olympics. Him and there's the 2 twins.
Yeah.
They I reckon they're going to be minting that.
Yeah.
And there's Mark Dickinson as well.
Class.
So best of luck to them guys.
Aye, good luck.
Not that they'll be watching, like, but best of luck all the same.
Was there any other sporting topics before we move on?
Yeah.
We watched a bit of Fury and what you call it,
The
Del Boy.
Watchers all right.
They're fighting next weekend.
It's come around quick, hasn't it?
Aye. There's not been a huge build-up either, has that? But as much as the fight has kind of been criticised a little bit for, like, it's not the fight people necessarily want to see, and there's like bigger fights for Fury and all that, and he's already beat Chisora twice. It actually made sense when they were doing this interview thing yesterday, and they obviously are mates, aren't they? And they were sitting down a bit banter and that, and Fury's saying, Chisora gave me my first shot at the title, and then he also gave me second shot or something. Did he say?
European in English
title. He says, so now, like, I'm at the top and I'm the world champion, I'm giving him his shot, which is like, nowadays that's actually good of him, that, like, fair enough.
Big money times.
Giving him a big payday. He's actually like, he done it for Dillian White, you know what I mean? He's like doing.
Dillian White's been twisting on about him.
Has he?
Saying he wants his rematch and all that. It was unfair and pushed him out and all that. But the thing is, there's loads of pushing guns on in boxing.
I know, aye.
But do you see the haymaker guy, the uppercut he took his heel off?
He was on his feet before he pushed him. But then also Fury's been saying that he's aiming to fight Usyk. Is it Feb or March? Was it? But he says if Usyk's not ready, he wants to fight the Juggernaut.
Aye, that'd be a good one.
Aye. What do you reckon?
I don't know. Like what I say a couple of times, like Juggernaut's a bit like Anthony Joshua. Would have not feel be any good with someone like Fury.
I still reckon nobody beats Fury unless he takes it too far and he starts boxing past his like prime and that, and he's boxing towards his 40s and that. Then I think that's only then will he potentially start getting beat. But until then, I don't think anyone poses a threat. Like
I know who does pose a threat for me. Wilder.
Aye. He's the only
I don't
one.
want to watch that fight ever again, me. And then that's coming.
See that knock what he done the other week, man?
Aye.
Was it first round as well?
Aye.
He's got annihilated that guy.
Aye. When's Ruiz fighting then?
Oh, I don't know. Was there a date set? I don't know.
That'll be soon that.
There's lots coming up, guys. This is your NE FILTA podcast, guys.
Aye, it is, aye. It is the vacant British title being fought on that same card as well. With Dave Gorman's fighting. So that'll be good. Be a good card, that. I think that's tomorrow. Maybe we'll watch that on our way.
Aye.
I'll not be moving out the zone that weekend. Aye.
Should we move on to your main topic?
Oh no, it was just something to talk about. So it's been brought to my attention. the apprentice was talking about it the other day, and I had to look up to see if it was bullshit or not. But there's a bloke in Canada, right? He's been locked up for not calling his daughter his son, and it's actually all true, right? So what happened was there was a class. She was only 12 at the time. She was only 12-year-old at the time, right? It would be interesting to get some. We've got any homosexuals watching this, because wouldn't it be interesting to hear what they think about this topic, right? And I always thought it was a bit far-fetched, me, you know, like kids being taught all this at school at the age of 12 and all that. Like it's all right to change if you don't think you're a lass or a lad, you can just change. I think that's all wrong anyway. And I'll tell you why. So at school, in Canada, they've been watching this film called, what was it called? I wrote it down. Fuck knows. Lost it. Majestic, Handsome and Majestic, right? They put this film on, and then after watching that, this young lass, she started acting a bit like a tomboy, stuff like that. And then the father went to school to express his concern, and then found out when he was there that the school she'd already been having meetings and all that with the school counsellors and all that, and they'd already put her in meetings with someone called Dr. Wallace Wong, who is a ideologue physiologist, a gender ideologue physiologist. So basically pushing her into changing her gender, which is weird, isn't it? Why would they do that? She was 13 when all this was going on, but it started at 12 with that film. So I was just wondering, what was going on there.
But didn't she as well though have a crush on a male teacher?
Right, so she had a crush on a male teacher, right? So this physiologist, or psychologist, whatever it is, I don't know, psychologist, was telling her that she wasn't in fact a lass with a crush on a male teacher. She was as in fact a little boy, a little gay boy with a crush on a teacher, rather than just being a bit of a tomboy, you know what I mean? So they've actually but anyway, so this bloke, imagine this was happening to your kid. What's going on in the world anyway, right? So the bloke was completely fucking gutted, heartbroken about it and all that, wanting to put a stop on it and all that, and then behind his back, they went to the hospital and they just started pumping her full of fucking all kinds of stuff. And but it was saying in the documentary and all that, it's not like, it was weird, like they were just saying from now 13-year-old she's gonna have a beard for the rest of her life and stuff like that, and it was all like experimental drugs and all that they were pumping into her, right? But so for me, now go on.
I was going to say, and the dad was saying that he was more so worried about these drugs they were putting into her that you've got to sign a waiver, or he didn't sign it, but you know, to say that that can be negative long-term effects and stuff, bad for your health and like increased risk of heart conditions and that. So that's what he was worried about, like they're pumping my daughter full of drugs because she thinks she wants to have a sex change and she's only 13, but they might be giving her long-term like health problems, and she might get to be an adult and think, actually that was just a mad phase I was going through. How many people as kids going through phases?
I know.
He used to be a goth when he was 12.
Did I fucking did that fun?
Used to get to school with Slipknot hoodie on.
Did I fuck, man?
But you know what I mean though, like 12, 13, you're like impressionable.
Slipknot.
You're impressionable in that. You're like,
I'll Slipknot, yeah.
When you're that age, you're like kind of you know, you do what you think's cool maybe, or what your pals are doing or whatever, or if you see something that means something to you, you want to go in that direction. But you cannot really you shouldn't be able to make those kinds of decisions at that age.
No.
Fair enough if you get to like, I mean, I don't know what the age should be, but let's just say 18 for argument's sake, then like, or even a bit older when you're
You're a misogynist,
But when you're an adult and you can fully make that decision, and you've actually lived your life as who you were born as, and then you decided, right, this isn't right, then fair enough, but you shouldn't be letting kids have, let them have that childhood.
Because you're not, your brain hasn't developed enough,
Exactly,
and that's a simple fact, like, you haven't even went through puberty properly yet, your body's not developed and your brain hasn't developed, so how can you make a decision whether you want to be a lad or a lass, like, and who's making these decisions, like?
I know,
it's weird.
They shouldn't be able to make them decisions like for your kids. Like
and
how come the dad didn't have a say in that, like?
And who I've been watching, he says it's not being what's called when you're anti-gay, what's that called?
Homophobic.
It's not being homophobic, it's just being pro-human. That's what he was saying, and it's true really, like, because for me it's child abuse, you know.
Yeah.
Letting kids do it. And you know what, also this documentary was saying the suicide rates for young people transitioning at a young age, the suicide rates are through the fucking roof. When they get to a certain age, they're all killing themselves. Because they're all left with beards, and that doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah. Because
you're a lass with a beard, it doesn't make you a bloke, like. Like, you're still a lass, like. And you know what I was saying, like, so the LGBTQ, so is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and queer, what do they actually think about this? Because this is not, how are they involved in that? Because they all get put into that same acronym. They all get put into that same thing, but surely your average gay bloke doesn't want nothing to do with this. Because it's bringing all of them down, I think.
It's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Aye.
This should be used as like a case study. Like, I would love to see how this lad is doing when he's in his 20s.
I know.
And if he still stands by these decisions, or if he regrets them. So maybe we can, because it's still happening now. Is it like, how old is the last lad now?
Be 15.
15. So I give it a few years and
anyway, the bloke's in jail. He got jailed 6 months in the court because they told him that it was now illegal. Some of the things that they made, like, stopped him from doing, like, but he kept referring to his daughter as his daughter in the court, and they jailed him for 6 months and fined him $30,000.
That's crackers.
What would you do? What would you do if that was the case?
I would wash my hands of me.
They divorced the wife, and then what would you? It's a kid, you know what I mean?
I know, it would be very hard.
It's easier to say that because we haven't got kids and that, but now if you were in that position, Fuck me, what would you do? You'd feel like you were living under a rock or a hard place.
Like no control over. I don't know. Now when I was a
No
kid,
control over anything, and that's what they're saying now. You don't even own your kids anymore.
God, like it's mad. Kids can just get away without now, man. Like I remember when I was a kid, I'd be like, as long as you're living under my roof, you live by my rules.
Aye and aye.
I would have got punched all over if I says I wanted to be a lass. I would have got the hiding in my
Aye.
life.
You're laughing, but it's true, like.
I know, aye.
How the times have changed,
But
guys.
obviously, I don't think there's anything wrong with people wanting to make the transition and that as adults who can fully, make that decision and want to do that. But I don't think children should be allowed to make that choice yet. They should be allowed to have that childhood, see how that goes. And when they're an adult, if they're still fully, that's what they want to do, then that's fair enough. You're an adult, you can make that decision for yourself. But they shouldn't be putting 12-year-olds through sex changes, like.
If you get to 18 and you're a lass and you still feel like you want a bit of a cordy, then get one sewn on. But until then, you can't be doing it at the age of 12, like. And anyway, we'll wrap that up. That's enough of that politic for the day, guy. What do you reckon? We'll take this piece off there. Can't be saying all that. We're gonna delete that part, right? Because we're kind of be.
Are you recording again?
Aye. We're gonna delete that part. We're going to delete that part because we're kind of be seen to be saying things about transgenders on the thing. It's not even transgender, is it?
What?
All these people who need genders and what have you. Can't say out against them. What was that clip you put on Family Guy? You had to put that in, yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
But that's true, isn't it?
Anyway.
Let's move on before we get cancelled.
What else we got to talk about today?
I don't know. The war in Ukraine, maybe?
What were you you had some...
I was watching this thing with, it was actually Russell Gland that had this bloke on. He was like an expert on this war that's going on in Ukraine, right? In Ukraine, sorry. And so there's probably people that know a shitload more than me on this. So what they're all fighting over originally was the areas on the borders of Ukraine and Russia, and everyone in them areas on Ukraine side is pro-Russia. They want to be Russian and all that, speak Russian. They're like very loyal to Russia and stuff like that. And apparently, Ukraine has been torturing all these people. Do you know that?
Nah, just off the bits what you were saying.
Aye, and there's so they're torturing them all and they're stopping them from speaking Russian and all that. It's like what they did with the Irish and all that. Fucking all that carry on, innit? They stopped them doing loads of stuff, didn't they? The dancing and the language and everything. But either doing that, they're torturing them. There's videos. I've not seen the videos and all that, but this bloke was saying there's very real videos of them, like hauling loads of them into like dead bodies into pits and all that. It's all happening. And then he was also saying that Ukraine, there's a certain sector of the Ukraine army that's full of Nazis, and you can see them in the videos now. They're all wearing stuff like what the Nazis back in the German ones would wear. They say part of the SS and all that, they were wearing them. And there's even videos, man. This Ukraine army, they're flying down the streets on tanks, doing the whole salute. And Putin, how everyone like villainizes him and all that, saying like if there's an opposition party, stuff like that, then they're just jailed. Zelensky's doing the same things. He's meant to be just as bad, you know. And the whole point of the discussion was that it's all a big, massive money laundering scheme for America to pump to get, just like what they've done in South American wars and in the Afghanistan war and the Iraq war. Like, they're behind everything there. Honestly, they're behind everything. But that was what I wanted to say on that.
Interesting.
Because you know what, and another point of that discussion was why and what benefits or do we get from only saying one point of the story the whole time. Like, and you know what? This whole time of the Ukraine war for a couple of months now, I've been thinking, this is not all that's going on, yeah.
Aye.
There's definitely something else going on.
Well, it's definitely clear. I would know that the media only ever gives you one side of the argument, the side that whoever controls media wants you to know.
Aye.
Same happened with the injection. I didn't want to say the word because it'll get picked up, won't it? Because we'll get banned again. With that recent injection.
They call it the pandemic, mate.
Like still now, there's people who have got claims in who have been damaged by it and have got long-term like negative illnesses from it and that, but they're not talking about that on the news. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. Turn my head, Ginger.
But on that,
You heard how like it?
you know how Elon Musk's took over Twitter? He put this poll on 2 days ago saying, should Twitter offer a general amnesty to suspend accounts, provided they have not broken the law or engaged in egregious spam? And 72% said yes. So he's then put, the people have spoken, amnesty begins next week. So he's saying like it's criminal. Like he says the more he learns, the worse it gets. Like that was like the big story about Hunter Biden's laptop and all this stuff. And Twitter chose to suppress the story in that to kind of help Joe Biden's chance at being president and all that.
And he got in. He got into the Oval Office.
So the media is literally controlling the narrative. But now he's in. Elon Musk's in. He's gonna make it totally unbiased and just like you said. We said this a few weeks ago. As long as you're not breaking the law, as long as you're not, abusing people and all that sort of stuff, you should be able to say what you want. As long as you're not.
We've said all this before on the programme, man.
But
this is your NE FILTA podcast,
I tell you
guys.
what, though, it's great to see that it's actually happening, though.
It is, isn't it?
I never thought we'd see the day, mate. It's class.
Like he's a revolutionary figure, him.
Aye.
Same as Russell Brand. I wish he would do something a little bit more. He puts his show on, and I love what he's talking about. Like, some things I find him a bit hard to watch because he just goes on and on and on very quickly. All these words that I didn't understand, but I think his message is good. I
agree. Aye.
He was someone I found that I was watching quite a lot during COVID because I just wanted some unbiased news, and that's what he gives. If it's, I feel like he doesn't care which way it is; he just tells it how it is. Didn't his program used to be called The Truths instead of The News?
Aye.
That's all it is, man.
Aye. Right, well, yeah, I think we'll wrap this one up, eh?
I'll wrap you up in a minute.
Couldn't drop his drawers at that point.
Good, like.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share. Check out other videos as well. I don't know if you've seen last week we had a special guest on.
What did you think of him? He was called
Christopher Chance.
Aye. Get a watch of that. Some interesting stories.
Very interesting stories, guys. Hey, this was your NE FILTA podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe it. Tell your mate. We will get the programme on it.